Don't board the train. Go home. Hide in the closet. Don't ask. You'll understand later. His fingers were icy when they pressed my phone back into my palm. I almost laughed in his face. Instead, I froze. My name is Alex Morzova. I'm 29 years old, a financial analyst, rational to a fault. I don't believe in omens, fortune tellers, or dramatic warnings whispered by strangers at train stations, especially not from an old man wrapped in layered scarves, his sharp eyes cutting through me like he already knew my secrets. I had been rushing to catch the 6:40 train to visit my fiancée Daniela. We were supposed to finalize wedding details that night. My life was predictable, structured, safe, and yet I didn't feel bored. I told myself it was curiosity, maybe instinct, maybe the way he said it. Not dramatic, not theatrical, but urgent. So, instead of heading to Daniela's apartment, I went back to mine. At 7:12 p.m., I stood inside my own bedroom closet, heart pounding, feeling ridiculous among winter coats and shoeboxes. I almost stepped out. Then I heard my front door unlock and Daniela's voice inside my apartment. I wasn't supposed to be home. Daniela had a key for emergencies. That's what she said when I gave it to her 2 years ago. Back when love felt uncomplicated. Back when she used to kiss my forehead and call me her future husband like it was a promise, not a strategy. Through the thin closet door, I heard her walk in confidently. No hesitation. No calling my name. Then another sound. Heavy footsteps. A man's low laugh. My stomach folded in on itself. For months, things had been off. Daniela had grown distant, protective over her phone, quick to criticize the way I dressed, the way I worked late, the way I wasn't warm enough lately. She said, "Wedding stress changes people." I believed her because that's what I do. I calculate risk in spreadsheets, but ignore it in love. I heard them move into the living room, the familiar creak of my couch dipping under weight. That wasn't mine. Glass clinking? She had brought wine to my apartment for another man. "I told you he'd be on that train," she said casually. Silence. Then his voice amused. "You're sure he suspects nothing?" She laughed. And in that moment, hiding between my coats, I realized something wasn't just wrong. It was planned. My ears rang, but I forced myself to stay still. Planned? That word echoed louder than their laughter. "He's predictable," Daniela said, and I could picture the smug tilt of her mouth. "He'd never questioned me. He thinks I'm stressed about the wedding." The man hummed approvingly. "And the apartment. I'll move in officially after the honeymoon. Once the paperwork's signed, it's practically ours." Ours? My closet felt smaller, air thinner, paperwork. I mentally replayed the last month. Daniela insisting we streamline assets. Her pushing for joint accounts, convincing me to transfer my savings into a shared investment fund she managed. I'd hesitated, but she'd made it about trust, about unity, about love. "He has no idea what he signed," she continued, pouring more wine. "By the time he figures it out, the money's already shifted." Shifted? My entire life savings? The man laughed softly. "You're ruthless." "No," she corrected. "I'm efficient." My hands trembled, but my mind sharpened. I wasn't heartbroken. Not yet. I was calculating every document, every password, every access point. They were planning to marry me, drain me, then discard me. And suddenly, the old man's warning didn't feel mystical. It felt like a narrow escape. Then Daniela said something that made my blood run cold. "After tomorrow, he won't be a problem anymore. After tomorrow, he won't be a problem anymore." The words didn't sound dramatic. They sounded logistical, like rescheduling a meeting. The man paused. "You're sure about the timing?" Daniela exhaled slowly. "He'll be on the 6:40. I told him to take it because traffic's unpredictable tonight. There's construction near the bridge." The bridge? My throat tightened. That train line had been in the news for weeks. Delayed maintenance, faulty signaling systems. Daniela had insisted I take it instead of driving. She'd even checked the schedule for me. "You're not worried?" the man asked. She chuckled. "It's not like I'm pushing him. Accidents happen." Accidents. I felt the air leave my lungs. She wasn't just planning to steal from me, she was positioning herself for something worse. A tragic fiancé, a grieving partner, insurance policies, sympathy, clean hands. I remembered signing that life insurance update last month. She'd said it was responsible before marriage. My knees nearly gave out. From the living room, glasses clinked again. "To new beginnings," the man said. "To freedom," Daniela replied. And inside that dark closet, surrounded by my winter coats, something inside me didn't shatter. It crystallized. They thought I was predictable. They thought I was already gone. They had no idea I was standing 10 feet away, alive, listening, and no longer in love. I didn't burst out of the closet. I didn't scream. I didn't confront them. I stood there breathing slowly, letting the shock burn through me until it turned cold. Daniela thought I was on that train. Thought I was hours away from being a headline, or at the very least legally cornered and financially drained. She had already moved emotionally, strategically, and probably legally. Good. That meant she was comfortable. Comfortable people make mistakes. I waited until I heard the bedroom door open. My bedroom. Their footsteps. The soft thud of my mattress shifting. I quietly unlocked my phone, not to call the police, to record audio first, then video, just a crack through the closet door. Enough to capture faces, voices, the wine, the intimacy in my space. Evidence. I sent copies to a private cloud folder Daniela didn't know existed. One she had once mocked me for keeping. "You and your backups," she teased. Yes, me and my backups. When I heard them move toward the shower, I slipped out silently, barefoot, heart steady. I grabbed my laptop, external drive, passport, and the folder of signed documents from my desk. By the time they realized I'd been home, I would already be rewriting everything. They thought tomorrow would erase me. They were wrong. Tomorrow would expose them. I didn't sleep that night. By 2:17 a.m., I was sitting in my car 2 blocks away, laptop glowing against the windshield, rebuilding my life line by line. First, I logged into the joint investment portal. Daniela had access, but so did I. I froze every transfer scheduled for the morning. Then, I initiated a compliance review flag, anonymous tip, suspicious activity, potential financial manipulation. As a financial analyst, I knew exactly which keywords triggered automatic audits. Fraud, coercion, unauthorized beneficiary adjustments. Next, I emailed our lawyer. Subject line, urgent wedding postponed. No emotion, just documentation attached, timestamps, recorded audio clips, copies of policy changes Daniela had pressured me into signing. At 6:35 a.m., I scheduled a meeting with the insurance provider. I requested a beneficiary freeze pending investigation. Then I did something colder. I sent Daniela a text at 6:39. Trains delayed. Thinking of coming home instead. 3 dots appeared instantly. No, stay, it's fine, I'll meet you later. Panic hides poorly. At 7:05 a.m., I uploaded the edited video, blurred for legality, clear enough for truth, to a private link, and sent it to one more person. Daniela's mother. Caption: ask your daughter about the 6:40 train. Then I turned my phone off and waited for the collapse. My phone exploded back to life at 9:12 a.m. 37 missed calls, 22 from Daniela, 5 from her mother, 3 from our lawyer, and 1 voicemail that I played twice. Alex, what is this? Daniela's voice wasn't calm anymore. It wasn't efficient. It was unraveling. Why did my mother just call me crying? Why is the bank freezing the account? What did you do? I didn't answer. I watched. By noon, the compliance department had formally suspended all transfers pending investigation. Daniela's access privileges were temporarily restricted. She tried logging in 7 times. I could see it in the activity log. Desperation leaves fingerprints. At 1:03 p.m., she showed up at my apartment. This time I was inside, not hiding. She pounded on the door. Alex, open it. We need to talk. Need? The same word she'd used when she needed my trust, my signature, my savings. I opened the door slowly. She looked pale, disheveled. No smug tilt, no efficiency. You misunderstood, she started immediately. It was a joke. You know how people talk? I tilted my head. About accidents? Her mouth opened, closed. I didn't board the train, I said softly. For the first time since I'd known her, Daniela looked afraid, and I realized something. This wasn't just about money anymore, it was about control. And she had just lost it. Daniela kept talking. When liars panic, they drown themselves in words. You're overreacting. You always do this. You twist things. Alex, you heard half a conversation. I heard enough, I said calmly. She stepped closer. You're ruining everything. The accounts, the wedding, my reputation. Your reputation? Not us. Not love. Just damage control. I watched her carefully. Tell me something, I said. If I had boarded that train and something had happened, would you have cried at my funeral? She didn't answer immediately. That silence was my closure. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down. I saw the color drain from her face. Compliance had escalated the review. The insurance provider had flagged the beneficiary changes as potentially coerced. Our lawyer had formally withdrawn representation pending investigation. And then she looked at me, not angry, cornered. You sent it to my mother, she whispered. Yes, she thinks I tried to. You did. The truth sat between us, heavy and irreversible. She left without slamming the door, without another threat, without dignity. 2 days later, I learned something else. The 6:40 train never crashed, but it was delayed for hours due to a signaling malfunction near the bridge. An accident waiting to happen. I don't know who that old man was. I never saw him again, but sometimes when I stand at that station, I wonder, was he warning me about the train or about the woman I almost married? Either way, I listened.